about one right here that if you look inside, I'm gonna peel the shell away. And when you look inside of this egg, if you're candling it, when the shell is there, you'll see this big bass opening and a high rise up here, and then you'll see the shadow coming way down here. But there's no head there to pip out. The line should come about right here. About right here, the most. But you should see his back and his legs kicking. Well, after a day, I realized, okay, looking through there, I knew he hadn't internally pipped. So more than likely, this chick has one of the breech problems that we have, that his beak is just probably barely stuck underneath his wing. Somehow his beak went underneath his wing when it should be on top of his wing. And I'm gonna try to show that by opening him up, showing you what you must do to help him out, if you can. Now, you're only gonna save about 50% of these birds. Hang on. You're really going to save probably about 50% of these birds. You can see him, he's moving around. So what you got to do, the main thing is you got to find the head. You need to find the head so you don't have to cut out too much. So if you look at this, this iPhone's kind of sucked to deal with. That's more than likely a leg. His leg is kicking up. His body is right around here. His other leg is right down in here, which is going to put his head more than likely right here. So you got to be very careful. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take a pair of medical tweezers. I'm right there with them. What do I do with my medical tweezers? Here they are. Okay. So I'm going to take some medical tweezers, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the low spot right here. And I'm going to pull up on that low spot, and you'll see him jumping around when he starts hitting that air starts hitting his lungs. You don't want to do this till day 26 on peafowl. And you don't want to yank him out. Even though there's not that much blood, he's not ready. So what I'm doing here is I'm peeling, and there you go. There's his eye right there. You can see his little eye. Now you got to figure out which way is the beak. Well, what we do is we look at the shape of the eye. So we know the eye is closing back this way, so this is the front. So his front is up here in the front. Let me see if I can get this better. So there's his eye. You'll see that. And up in here, you're going to see his beak is stuck up underneath a wing. His wing. He'd never be able to pull this out the pip. And if you wait till day 28, they're going to be dead and suffocated. So if you'll see, right here, as I have them opened up, you'll see a beak right here. There's his eye. I'm going to open it up just a little bit so you see. There's his eye. He's trying to scream. So I know his beak is forward, and it's underneath this flap of skin underneath his wing, right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reach up inside of there just like this, and I'm going to grab the beak. And sometimes you got to be kind of broody with it. I mean, it sucks, yeah. But you got to get it past that flap of skin underneath his leg and his wing. And see that flap of skin right there? I got to pull it over the top. Snatch his wing, and now his head is out. But this chick still can't pip. The reason why he is upside down. So you couldn't leave him in here and have him pip back out. The reason why is if this pip was positioned this way, his body would be set up to pip clockwise. Well, that ain't the way chicks pip out. Chicks pip out counterclockwise. He should have been twisted around with his beak coming up this way, with his beak coming up this way, so he can click. So if you see a chick like this, and you know that he can't take his beak and click it back that way, he's not going to make it around to going clockwise. The membrane in his body should be set in there so he can only turn this way. This chick would have never hatched. What you got to be afraid of, though, you got to make sure this foot doesn't make it all the way out. If you have to, put some tape over it. I think this one's fine because I still got the membrane on it. The membrane's going to dry to it. You want the membrane to kind of dry, keep it off his eyes, and let him sit for a little while. Let him sit for, I don't know. Keep an eye on him. There's not a whole lot of blood. So you let him sit for, in the hatcher, probably humidity around, I don't know, 55-60% to keep him kind of moist. If you get it down like 45, he'll dry out, but he should be in your hatcher, or if you've got a sick bay. This bird's going to be fine. I'll come back and give the update on him, and what I'll do is I'll wait till 4 or 5 hours from now, and I'll barely go up into the very top of his shell, right up underneath that writing right there, the I-6, and I'll go to the very back up inside of there, and I'll make little marks with my tweezers, and the tweezers will let me know how much blood is coming out. I make the mark until there's no blood, or very little blood coming out. But you got to be careful, which I'll show this when I keep doing this with this bird. As soon as I come back in and check him out, I'm going to close out for now. I'll show you how you pull him out of there without his placenta hanging out. Right now it's hanging out, even though there's not that much blood. Right now, if I pull him out, he's going to die, period. When you yank them out early and they're bleeding, they don't bleed out. When they're gasping, everybody thinks, oh, the blood's running out of them. That blood that's coming out of them when you break them free is what's providing them oxygen. They actually suffocate. That's why they gasp when you take them out too early, because all the blood's gone. They use their lungs and they use the blood. The blood is, the capillaries are still bringing in air through the membrane. And that's why the chick, by using his lungs, finally, eventually sucks all the blood up into his body, and he's using the blood in the air to circulate through his body. And only then can you pull him out. So if you yank him early, the blood, that bright red blood is full of oxygen. He didn't bleed out. He's suffocated. I promise you. Next time you do it, watch them gasp and you'll understand what I'm talking about. They're gasping for air. So this chick right here is on day 27. I've been watching them all day and I noticed, okay, it's time. And that's what I went in there. If you wait to day 28, he'll probably be dead. He'll run out of oxygen. That air bubble is just not enough. And if he does survive to day 28, this will be a really problem chick. You don't want to go any further than this. You'll stress him out. He's making noises. I see him breathing. He's swallowing, so he's fine. So I'll put him back in the brooder. I'll come in here tomorrow morning, because it's like, 1:24 in the morning. So I'm probably going to be up another 3 or 4 hours hatching these chicks. But either way, he is alive. It's an import chick, and I will keep you guys updated. All right, until next time. Okay, I'm back. It's Gerald Barker from Bob's Green Peafowl. Back with our chick. Hopefully I can figure out how to merge these videos together. So this is several hours later. I have been checking on him, looking for blood, all that. So same chick. Look, I should have put this out before I even started this. You're only going to learn to do something like this if you try it. There's going to be a lot of trial and error, and you're going to learn from your mistakes. Having said that, you're going to kill chicks. You're not going to save them all. You got to at least try to do something like this, because if you don't, the chick's going to die anyway. So you at least try. Don't panic. You'll get confident in what you're doing. Some will make it, most won't. I honestly probably less than 50% make it. Okay, now back to the chick. We were talking about blood. I've been checking on the chick, so I didn't have to keep making videos and stuff. Pretty sure the blood is gone. To reiterate about the little foot, I let the membrane dry around his foot. I didn't have to put tape on it. The reason why I didn't mention this last time is because if he gets that foot out, gets a grip on the outside of this shell right here, he's going to rip himself out too early. He just wants to get out, if you can imagine, as anybody would. So you want to make sure that foot doesn't come out. You want to keep an eye on him. No, I'm not a veterinarian. This is not a sterile environment. This is something that I do in the field. This is something I have learned over the years, and just thought I would share it a little bit. Okay, so we're going to take our tweezers. We got our little man, woman, girl, whatever it is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look, and you can actually peel the shell off, and that's what I'm going to do. This is the same chick, little import chick. So I'm going to, it seems brutal, I know it does, but just to double check, I'm going to cut him right there just a little bit in the membrane. And we're looking right there. That looks clean. Notice there's no blood. There can be a little bit of blood. Most of it's probably the plasma or the water out of it. I put him in a really dry environment, in a really dry hatcher, because I wanted the membrane to shrink wrap around him to keep him steady, keep him from moving around. So what you can do is you can peel the shell back like this. And what you're looking for is any type of heavy bleeding. There's a little bit of blood there. I still think we're good. I don't think that his guts are hanging out, and nor do I think he's going to suffocate due to lack of oxygen. So I've got all this broke off. So what I usually do is I like to peel the membrane off of their feathers before I get them out. It makes it a little bit easier, and it's easier to peel off of them while they're in the shell because they're not moving around as much. And oh yeah, he's pissed off. This is a good sign. This chick is likely gonna make it. You want it, if they're active like this, that's good. You probably just saved the chick. So you do it like that. As you can tell, he's just absolutely not upside down, but just backwards. And having that beak underneath, well, I thought it was his wing. Yeah, it was his wing. Having that beak underneath his wing and underneath that leg and that piece of skin meant that he was never going to be able to pip. Timing is everything. You don't want to do it too early. You don't want to do it too late. I usually look at them late on the 26th. They usually pip on the 26th if you got everything right in your incubator. And they usually spin out and are out of the shell by day 27. I don't believe in the 26 to 28 days. I honestly think it's 26 and 27 days because every chick I've ever had that made it to day 28 and finally came out, and you have to help them, they usually have issues, usually feet issues, neck issues, leg issues, stuff like that. So if your incubator's running right, or if you're using a hen or a chicken or anything like that, usually day 26 they pip. Day 27 they start to spin out, some earlier, some late. But I look at them, if you wait till day 28, a lot of times he'll usually be dead. They'll usually kind of suffocate because they require more air. You got to get those lungs to work in to get the chick to suck the blood back up into his body, so he's not relying on the blood and the capillaries and it sucking into the pores of the shell and taking it from the air pocket on the top of the egg. The air pocket really doesn't provide a whole lot of air, to be honest with you. So timing is everything. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab him, we're gonna pull his little head free, and he's gonna come out. And there you go. You can tell he wasn't really pipping or trying to pip because he had no room, because the back of his neck doesn't have that big Herkin muscle sticking up. This chick definitely would not have made it. I probably will have to tape his toes anyway, which is pretty much what I do with every one of them, especially with green peafowl. So I'm gonna pull him out. Here he comes, here he comes. I'll get the napkin ready. Like I said, I'm not a veterinarian. This is not a laboratory, and it's not surgery. So there we go. As you can see, very little blood. You can look inside, you can see he's already let out his last excrement. All the blood has went up into his body. I don't put anything on their little button, their belly button. Oh shoot, I'm sorry. I don't put anything on their little belly button or anything like that. No antiseptic or anything like that. Some people do. I believe in letting it doing it naturally, but this is the way I do it in the field, if you want to call it that. You can absolutely save a chick like this. This is a little import chick. Thought I would share this with you, and what I'll do is I'm probably gonna post this on Facebook. I will post a picture of when he's dry, standing up, running around, and there you go. Maybe you learned something, or maybe you think I'm an idiot. But anyway, this is Gerald Barker from Bob's Green Peafowl, Salado, Texas. www.bobsgreenpeafowl.com. You can text me, call me if you have any questions. If you think it's brutal, then don't watch it. Either way, thank you very much. I will post more pictures of him, her, when he gets a little bit bigger. But there you have it. Thank you. Bye-bye. Okay, I'm back as promised with an update on our bird that we had to assist. Let him sit overnight, taped his toes up, and as you can see, he's doing just fine. So, like I said, if you take your time, practice, and just be prepared to lose birds, but you'll actually come out with birds like this too. So, and that takes a lot of confidence. Confidence in your method is what counts. So either way, I'm gonna go. Thank you very much. Gerald Barker, Bob's Green Peafowl, www.bobsgreenpeafowl.com. Visit, text me, call me if you have any questions or have any issues. All right, goodbye.